Gundam.tk presents 1/100th Zollidia. Hey again everybody, Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and you've already seen the unbox and all the parts and plates. And now it's time to put this 1/100th Zollidia from Victory Gundam together and see the only bad guy in the series. The parts are looking pretty good so far, but let's see how it looks all together. And when it's done, here is the Zollidia in all of its red-shouldered glory. First of all, I have to say that my overall impressions of this, I'm not generally a fan of the bad guys from Victory Gundam because a lot of them are just very generic and easy to forget. The fact that they don't have plastic models outside of the 1/144th line doesn't help that. But the Zollidia has actually grown on me in terms of the design. The legs are interesting with their big feet and the fact that they've got bent back at an interesting angle. The shoulders are well designed in concept, the thrusters look good. Tons of colors here for the waist and the chest like that, and the little bit of color that's been added to the eyes. I actually like the way this kit looks, although you just have to keep in mind how small it really is as a 1/100th. From 1993, what can you expect in terms of mobility? Well, you can move the skirts independently, but they're not going to move up more than that. The leg will kick forward though, and you can bring that all the way up there. If you want to put it off to the side, you're not going to get any more than that because it's the old just ball joint with the polycap system down there. The legs, remember, are going to bend not more than 90 degrees. The ankles are going to move forward and back very well. They're going to move back all the way and off to the side ever so slightly. For the upper body, you could rotate that all the way around, I suppose, if you want to, and the arms are going to spin. As mentioned before, the shoulders don't bend up here, they actually bend with the polycap type part down here at the elbow, so that's going to spin around there, and you're only going to get 80 degrees there and a strange 80 going back. So if he wants to scratch his back, yes, Katajina lose, she'd be the only one who'd be lucky enough to take care of that. The head is going to rotate and move up and down ever so slightly on the polycap, but again, it's just that one point of attachment and articulation. Arming up is just a question of putting the beam rifle into the hand. It seems to fit in there fairly securely. And on the other side, all you have to do is put the beam shield into place. And armed up, this kit that had grown on me more than I expected before is looking even better. First of all, that shield is just going to be a massive monster there. It's as big as a surfboard. Almost as big as a 7-sword sword. Well, no, not that quite. But the beam rifle seems to be just the right size. It's proportionate. It's going to stick out there. It's a little bit plain, but then again, when you've got this forearm thing with the giant part here, the lining looks good. Not the fact that I did the lining, but just because they give you the opportunities for it there. And the way that you can attach everything on, that left arm outside of that ugly red shoulder, everything about this kit is looking a little bit colorful for such a seemingly plain mobile suit. And despite its simple looks, sort of adding to its appeal in terms of height, there's no way to sugarcoat this. This is going to be one of the smallest and chibiest and weakest looking 1/100ths that you can imagine. This is a non-grade, this is also a non-grade. We've got the 1/100th gold frame Amatsu over here from Gundam Seed Astray, the manga. And you can just see how much a 1/100th Gundam can tower over it when it's its regular 18-19 meters. Back in the 90s, the kits tended to be a little bit smaller. They've got none of the master grade stretching, and it's just an overall tiny kit in comparison, and it's got to look that way on your shelf, no matter who you put it beside, unless it's 1/144th. Here's another 1/100th non-grade Providence here from Gundam Seed, and again, without the master grade treatment, this guy is still stubby compared to what he would be with a master grade, probably be a centimeter taller. You just see how small that Zollidia is going to be next to everybody. If you've seen my review of the fixed figuration Penelope over here, it's a little bit small for a 1/144th kit. Remember, this is one of the biggest Gundams that there is, though. And the Zollidia, I've tried to line up their feet there, is about the same size as this kit, which is too small for a 1/144th. And by kit, I guess I should say toy. It's an even stranger comparison when you look at it from the side. In the posing department, right off the hop, it's not as bad as I expected it to be. The legs, the knees, even though they don't bend all that well, are going to bend into place all right, and he can stand on his tippy toe, or at least one of them. The arms are going to swing into position, and no problem at all looking down the barrel of the beam rifle. And again, that large shield is just going to draw the eye from whatever you're doing, and especially the color in the eyes for me, that just makes such a big difference. You can see from there that this guy is going to collapse pretty easily and that those limbs are not very solid whatsoever. In terms of the actual pose there, here you've got the beam rifle brought across the other way. That shield is looking very effective compared to some of the other Gundam shields that we've seen, especially from Victory Gundam. It is a little bit oversized in colors, covers up a lot of the visuals that you'd be seeing otherwise, but you can get it there. It's just a question of whether it's going to stay in place once you do. And those ugly parts on the outside of the legs are not helping, but it is going to look better when you see it from the front to have those parts hidden outside. With the beam sabers being a different color, they're going to add a little bit more variation while they're just going to go along with the shield, but that's not a bad thing. And the guy can look alright as they come forward to attack melee style. The shield generator actually looks alright. It's a little bit big and bulky without the shield in there, but the overall effect of that sort of seems weaponized and it reminds me of a little bit of F91, but it doesn't look that bad despite the fact that it just sort of looks like he's got a bug sitting on his forearm. And in terms of dynamic poses, I've got it just up there, barely standing on one of the toes. Again, you just got to be careful that the whole thing's not going to collapse. I don't know if it wielded two beam sabers in the anime, but anyway, it's still nice that they throw those in. But it may just be at its best when it's haughtily looking down upon anybody below it, very Katagina style. Anyway, everybody, I'm going to wrap up my review of the mobile suit there. Not bad for a little old kit like this. It can actually pull off a few things. But stay tuned for my verdict where I'll have a complete list of all the good and bad things that I could discover about this kit so that you can decide whether this is something or not you want to pick up for yourself. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, gundam.tk, thanks for watching this. See you next part, and thanks for watching as always. Bye. Look, if we can roll around in giant wheels and be taken seriously, why can't I ride a white horse?